Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sporting Plug. You can probably barely hear me. And that's because the microphone is not in the right place because I am unprofessional. I'm Aaron. Welcome to the Sporting Plug. Joining me is an extremely smug-looking shithouse who supports Arsenal called Roger Sears, who not only captured another wrestling championship this weekend, but also his team won. So it's a good weekend to be Rog. A very good weekend. Yeah, smug mode in full activation. We're going to basically run over because we never seem to review and look back at our predictions, but luckily for you, Rog, I wrote them all down. You'll be surprised, and it'll be interesting to see who's been paying attention out of the four people who actually watch this stupid channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to review the Premier League, and of course, we're going to start with the big game of the weekend, which is, of course, your boys dispatching Man City 1-0 in what has to be one of the worst advertisements for the Premier League I have ever seen. Roger says, first of all, Arsenal winning at home and also beating Man City for the first time in, 13 games? They cracked the 12-game streak of losing to Manchester City. Is this a sign that they are ready to become champions or not?
I think you have to take into consideration the players who are absent. Because Man City are missing De Bruyne, they're missing Rodri. There's two very big players for them. Granted, we were missing Saka, but don't know what to say. The game was terrible. It was a terrible game.
You were missing, from what I could tell, Odegaard, Jesus.
Yeah,
they played, but they certainly didn't play. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you know what really stood out to me most is how first of all, it's the Trossard special, as I like to call it. It's not Martinelli's goal. They're like, oh, it's his goal because it was on target. Yeah, it was on target in the same way that an infant can stand in front of Muhammad Ali. Doesn't mean he's going to win, does it? Like, very silly premise. Like, first of all, it's a great cross from Martinelli. It's a fantastic header from Nathan Ake, and it's 1-0 Arsenal. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's a sloppy goal. Hey, you got to be in it to win, haven't you? So you have to have the luck. Man City are their own worst enemy. But first of all, Man City just lost back-to-back Premier League games. Mad. Don't know. I'd love to know when the last time that happened was.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, they said it on the commentary. 5 years ago is the last time that happened.
Yeah, and if I told you that out of the two losses, Wolves would be a far more entertaining watch than Arsenal, you would have shot me in the head. So, here we are. I got to be honest. Yeah, I thought both teams played appallingly. I thought the quality of football was terrible. I think the lack of fucking awareness, especially from Arsenal, was extremely worrying. It's never would I sit here and think, oh, they just beat Man City. I'm extremely worried by their performance.
No,
because they were terrible. They played bad football, and what was it? I mean, I think there were 3 shots on target the entire game. Dreadful quality from both teams. Man City. But I will say this: Arsenal's defense was excellent.
Yeah,
Saliba and Gabriel were fantastic. They looked like world-class centre halves, which is not something I could say about Gabriel, especially. No. Ben White, very accomplished. Zinchenko, relatively mature performance until he was replaced by Tomiyasu about 15 minutes to go, which very much alarmed me when you brought those players on. I was like, uh-oh, here we go. But yeah, see, I mean, if I'm looking at City's performance, I thought they were dreadful. I thought the only player that really stood out to me was Kyle Walker. I thought he was excellent. They just looked limp. Haaland did nothing in that game. No. Nothing. Just went missing, just like Mbappe did against Newcastle. These are world-class players. You can't afford to go missing, particularly in the big games. And dare I say that he's still, for me, easily the best striker in the league. But I think the formula is slowly being formulated amongst teams of how to deal with him a bit better. Yeah. He's not having free will like he did last season. I think teams have gone out and improved. And they've also created a far more stout defensive mindset so that when they play teams like Arsenal and Man City, they're more prepared. And that's why, Arsenal and Man City aren't blowing as many teams away. Man City at home, yeah, sure, you can smash up Fulham. That's not an achievement. We could probably smash up Fulham given the opportunity. but yeah, it's a great result. It's amazing. What it does is it creates a level of competition, so that the fans watching it think, oh, okay. So now we've got Liverpool in the mix. We've got Arsenal in the mix. Man City are obviously always going to be in the mix. So you've got and Spurs, amazing, who dare I say are the best looking football side right now. Much to the annoyance of every Arsenal. Yeah, you can leave it. You know what, Arsenal fans, the truth will always hurt, and I know better than anyone else how painful it is to be an Arsenal fan and deal with the truth. Trust me. You know, because I spent many a year down there plying my trade as a miserable human being, but I I didn't need to go to Arsenal to be miserable. That just made it much worse. But it was that thing of, yeah, you've got 4 teams now that are in the mix who look good. Also, you've got Newcastle starting to regain some form. West Ham are a far more improved outfit. Brighton looking stronger. Or Villa, you know, all these teams are coming through, and the Europa League teams and the teams fighting it. Like, how competitive is it for, like, you know, 6th and, you know, 5th and 6th? Outrageous. Like, the competition is wild. And then, of course, you've got some other teams floating around doing some things, or lack thereof. But yeah, Arsenal winning, very impressive that they beat Man City. They will never play worse and beat Man City in their entire history. Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. Anything you want to add to it, mate?
I mean, when you're looking at a few individual performances, Raya's performance had me worried today. I thought he looked very shaky, especially first half. He looked nervous.
Ramsdale should have started. I think Ramsdale's better. I do. I don't think it's even in question. I just don't. Like, I think Ray is a fantastic depth keeper. He's probably the best backup keeper in the league. I don't think he should be starting.
No.
That's 2 games.
I'd agree with that.
Very. He's kept a clean sheet and played an absolute stinker. So he can thank his back 4 for that.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a poor performance from both teams. It's hard to say. If we'd started Martinelli and Saka was fit, would we have given them more of a game and, you know, made it, you know, a better victory? I don't know, because it was just such a shitty performance. But I'm going to take it. You know, first time I've beaten them in 13 attempts. And like you said, what it does is it makes things a lot more interesting and a lot more competitive. So I'll take it. It just wasn't fun to watch.
That was the big one. That's why we spent most of the time on it, because, to be honest, that was the biggest flashpoint. There were other games, obviously. We'll look at some of the other Sunday games before we delve quickly back through all of Saturday as well. Liverpool getting a 2-2 draw with Brighton. Very athletic, very impressive game. By the way, Roger amazingly had Arsenal to beat Man City in his predictions. Purely on fucking desire alone, might I add. Shithouse. Whereas I had Man City to finger Arsenal 4-1, and that didn't work out quite so well. So the moral of the story here is, do not pay attention to Aeron if you want to make money when you gamble. So yeah, congratulations on that. However, one game that I did get absolutely bang on was I predicted a 2-2 draw for Liverpool Brighton, and it was indeed a 2-2 draw. You had Liverpool eking out 3-2, but by the end of the game, it looked like Brighton were actually in the ascendancy a little bit. Good for Brighton to get a draw at Liverpool at home, but do you think for Liverpool this is another good example of why they're just not going to be in title contention?
Yeah, clearly that's the way it looks to me. I think Brighton have got the better result here, for the simple fact of, after taking a tonking last weekend, to bounce back against a bigger side like Liverpool and get a draw out of it. Yeah, it's definitely a better result for Brighton than it is for Liverpool.
Yeah, it's another game where they were 2-1 down and snatched a draw as well, because they were losing at Marseille, which is quite a tough place to go if you're Brighton in Europa League. So yeah, it shows that they got some resoluteness to them. And I thought, all in all, until they conceded 2 very quick goals, both from Salah, has to be said, who actually was probably Liverpool's best player, which was quite impressive. So there's obviously still something in the tank. The question is whether he can do it every week or not for me. Yeah, it's a good result for Brighton. For Liverpool, it's a reminder, I don't think they're good enough to challenge for the title. And, you know, going to Brighton away and drawing 2-2, well, you're not going to challenge for the title. Simple as that. But you can't discredit Brighton, who are playing very well. Newcastle and West Ham got a 2-2 draw. West Ham came back against Newcastle, and it was, again, another very competitive game. West Ham, European contenders, do we think, this season?
It is looking that way.
Last season,
We
they
said
finished what, 16th, 15th, 16th? Now they won the Europa Conference League, which is how they were able to stay in Europe, obviously. And then this season, they seem to be an outfit that could legitimately just qualify for Europe outright. But this was a big test. Can you get a result against the Newcastle team? Absolutely flying high. Beat Sheffield United 8-0, beat PSG 4-1. And West Ham were very good at stifling them, which to their credit is something they do very, very well. And also, their home performances are what are going to really define how well they do this season.
This goes back to what we said in the predictions, though, isn't it? Is they invested very, very wisely in the summer. Possibly one of the best buys of any team in the league was getting James Ward-Prowse. And so, and it shows in their performances of how well they've invested. I knew this one would be close. I think I had Newcastle to edge it in my predictions, but
you did. You had Newcastle to win 2-1.
Yeah,
and quite astonishingly, I had a 2-2 draw. So. I had a 2-2 draw, so I got that one right as well. So I by the way, I predicted. I read it down here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had 7 out of 10 draws.
And it was a weekend of draws, wasn't it?
There were quite a few, although not in the games I was expecting, if I'm being... Sunday. We also had Wolves versus Villa.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Which, by the way, was actually, excuse me, as far as Newcastle, I had 2-1 West Ham. So I didn't get that right. I had a 1-1 draw in Villa versus Wolves. I think exactly what it was. I told you, they cancel each other out. You knew it. You knew it. It's like they both got utterly different, unique results last weekend. And you thought, they'll clash together and they'll do nothing. And that's exactly what they did. It was 1-0. A lot of draws, by the way, this weekend, other than Arsenal's game. 3 draws on Sunday. So that tells you everything you need to know. It does show a level of competition, though. A lot more of these teams seem to be competitive. Saturday, on the other hand, so we both had Spurs to beat Luton. Spurs did beat Luton 1-0, but the story here is about Spurs had a sending off, and Luton could... Go and watch the highlights if you haven't. Luton, I swear, had about 55 attempts on goal and missed a lot of them. Couldn't put the ball in the net. They have 0 quality. The red card for me is mind-blowing. I don't know if you've seen it from Basuka or whatever his name is, Basuma. Fucking atrocious. He's already on a yellow, and he blatantly dives in front of the referee. They just emotionally retarded is what that is.
I don't understand this day and age why players are doing shit like that when there are so many cameras on the game. It is going to get shown up what you're doing, and why keep doing it? I just don't get it. I really don't.
There should be. This is what fucks me off, though. So obviously, I think we'll dedicate some spare time to talking about VAR as a separate video because it's getting on my fucking nerves. So VAR is not the issue. It's how it's managed and how it's utilised. For instance, how the fuck does Kovacic, by the way, not get sent off?
I know.
Arsenal. Yeah. It's disgraceful. Even Gary Neville, who is Mr. fucking conspiracy theorist, he comes up with the stupidest now every game. I swear, when Arsenal were playing, right, he'll find any excuse to make Arsenal look like a piece of shit. When they were playing Everton, he was like, have you seen it? I've been timing their corners. That one took 26 seconds. They're obviously taking too much time at corners. Tin foil hats, lizard people. Shut up, Neville, you fucking idiot. By the way, your dad was called Neville. I'm not taking you seriously. End of story. And also, Phil was probably more successful. No. Gary won a lot more titles, but then he was also being literally carried by Roy Keane his entire career. Neither here nor there, really. Profitable, I guess, but when you're in a team with Beckham, nobody's going to pay attention to that either. I'm fucked off with VAR. Because they only use it for certain situations. Like, well, don't either use it for all of these situations or not. So these players can get away with that. But what cracks me up is, yes, it's good that you got sent off for diving. Do it for everybody. Fucking have a system in place so that after the fact, you can watch back all the games. Because in this day and age, 20 cameras in there? Jesus Christ. They were, oh my God. By the way, Man City versus Arsenal were trialing that new camera, weren't they? The in-game camera, for the game. I was like, fuck you. Like, how much money do you think EA have thrown at them to do that? Holy cow. By the way, EAFC, as is the case with all the other FIFA games, fucking dreadful. A bad football game that we only play when it's available for free or on Game Pass, or we pick it up for a fiver from CEX because we're grown adults and not children who spend all their life on YouTube opening packs. Grow the fuck up. Pathetic. Yeah, that camera was fucking so retarded. It pissed me off. But you know, it is what it is. Luckily for me, I didn't have to watch it. Like, oh, it simulates what it's like watching it on a video game. It's literally real life. Why do I need that? How much of a loser do you have to be to think, I'd rather watch this as if it was an actual video game? That's because you are a fucking virgin. You cunt. Anyway.
Is that really where we're at now? We've gone from we want our video games to look as realistic as possible to now. Well, I know it's real, but I'd really like it to look like a video game if
what
I
we
can.
want to do is take real life and make it a video game. Fucking hell. Honestly, all these fucking fruitcakes are like, we're in the Matrix. You're not that far off, actually. You're not that far off. We're determined to prove them right at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spurs beat Luton 1-0. We expected them to win, but they fuck me, did Luton. They should have got something, and they didn't. Their own fault. I have zero sympathy for you whatsoever. Chelsea seem to have woken up. I had a draw. You had Chelsea squeaking it 2-1. They smashed up Burnley 4-1 and looked very competent in doing so. Are Chelsea back, Rog?
I know
beating the mighty Fulham and Burnley.
Yeah, I know this might hurt you because you got strong connections to Fulham, but it was only Fulham they beat. Let's be honest about this, you know.
How dare you insult our glorious football team?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Singing supporters.
The real test will come when they actually play Arsenal after the international break, isn't it?
Boy, so, you have a habit, by the way, of winning extremely big games right before the international break.
Yeah.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, you'll get your fix of Sporting Plug. We'll be commentating on the Georgia-Macedonia game in full. Sit down with me and watch that whole baby.
Oh my God, you thought today was boring.
How dare you? England are playing Australia next Friday.
It'll probably be awesome.
Probably, because Australia will go for it. They were like, right, fucking bonds and shit, man. Like, meanwhile, Postecoglou is getting annihilated in the Tottenham dressing room by his players. Oh, bastards. Yeah, no, it is what it is, mate. It is what it is. Yeah, Chelsea. If they beat Arsenal, then all of a sudden we're taking them very seriously, aren't we?
Yeah.
That'd be very embarrassing for you to lose to Chelsea, won't it, after beating United?
It would.
Ah, dear. So Everton have decided to wind up everyone once again by smashing up Bournemouth 3-0 at home. Absolutely annihilate them. Should have been 7 or 8-0. Unsurprisingly, you had Bournemouth to win 1-0. I had a draw because I thought they're both shite. And of course, Everton were like, so after losing to Luton, I fancy, shall we just fuck them over again by beating, or maybe they can only beat teams beginning with B.
Yeah.
How about you stick that one on your stupid little fucking conspiracy theory list, Neville, you gimp? I used to love Gary Neville, but this season he's pissing me off. He's gone back to I'm managing Valencia, Gary Neville, as opposed to
oh dear God.
Yeah, we all remember that, don't we? Do you remember when he remember when he gave out to Jurgen Klopp, and Jurgen Klopp was like, I'm not taking you seriously, bro. Did you see what you did at Valencia? Nothing. I've won a Champions League. Shut your mouth. That's what I'd be like. But I'm sorry, who are you? Yeah. Oh, right, you're that guy with that shit haircut. Be quiet. Ridiculous behaviour. Everton beating Bournemouth. Are Everton going to stay up by proxy of being ridiculous?
It does look that way at the moment, doesn't it? It looks like they're going to be utterly shit one week and then incredible the next. They'll get enough points if they do that, but you know, one hell of a roller coaster for their fans if that's the season they're in for.
I tell you what, if they can play with that level of build-up football every game, they'll be absolutely fine. They could be easily mid-table if they could fucking stabilise themselves. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's got to play better. For my money, he was playing really well, but he seems to have lost the finishing touch, and that's going to be a real decider as to whether they really struggle or if they're relatively comfortable by the end of the season. But luckily for them, there's quite a few teams running around that are deliberately being as shit as possible. One of those being Sheffield United, who lost 3-1 at Craven Cottage. If Fulham score 3 goals, you're in big trouble. By the way, did you see Kearney's goal? just
No, I
decided to
didn't.
randomly lob the keeper from like 35 yards, right?
Jesus
And it just hit off
Christ.
the underside and in. Beautiful goal, to be fair. It was just a freak occurrence, but Fulham looked fully in control. And Willian played amazingly, by the way. He's 35 years old. He's playing like he's 25. He seems to have regained his confidence after that little spell. I think he was at Arsenal, wasn't he, for a little bit as well? He really thrives at a team like Fulham. He feels like a star again there, and he might be the reason that they are okay. I think they'll be fine because the teams down the bottom look dreadful. So I think Fulham will be absolutely fine, but 12th or 13th maybe if they're lucky. No, I don't see them doing anything more than that. And by the way, Jimenez once again, just Jesus Lord Almighty, he might be the worst striker in the entire league. Seriously, mate.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that.
Mate, Phineas Goldwyn could score in a nightclub before he will. Dreadful. Dreadful. There's a reference to like two people again. Yeah, no. Naked Midian has a better chance of capturing gold than that. Just unbelievable. Like, it's just terrible. But yeah, Fulham beat Sheffield United 3-1. Not much to say about that, and not much anyone wants to talk about that. Man United blagged it, didn't they? Fucking hell. So you had Brentford down to win. And you were probably sitting there at 90 minutes going, oh, yes, Rodgers feels
again. Yes. Yes, I was feeling very
Brentford,
smug.
But like, you know what? Anything that fucking Everton can do to fuck this league up, we can do far better. Hold our beer. Completely collapse for 6 minutes and not defend at all. Goalkeeper should have saved the first and second one. Defense was absolutely gone. It was almost if. Do you know what? When people say football is fake or it's fixed, you get these conspiracy theorists who say, yeah, football's a joke, it's fixed, it's not real, Illuminati confirmed, Freemasons, blah, blah, blah. This kind of shit is what lends to it because Brentford just decided, we've played really well for 9 minutes, let's deliberately throw the game because that's what it looked like they were doing. They didn't even try and defend properly. And everyone... By the way, United fans erupting and celebrating like they won the Champions League. You just beat Brentford 2-1 in the last minute at home. Oh, how things have changed for you cunts. Oh, by the way, Galatasaray done you in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So all you lot giving it to... By the way, Arsenal lost to Lens and beat Man City.
What the fuck?
Makes sense. But I know you don't. If you're that desperate to go down to the Europa League, just ask and they might put you there in the first. Arsenal trying to severe it up in the Champions League right now, get themselves first so they can deliberately win the Europa League. I know what you're up to. It's an easier trophy. Easy. That way we don't have to play Real Madrid. Good shit. Yeah, no, Man United 1-2-1. Are Man United back after this magnificent win over Brentford 2-1?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think they're full of shit. Also, this is probably the worst time for you to win going into the international break because now you can't build on it.
No.
Couple of weeks off. Can't wait for that Georgia game, pal. So, Palace and Forest was the option for the afternoon game. You predicted Palace would win 2-1. I predicted a draw. And even I was a little bit off the mark. I got it right by virtue of a draw, but I said it'd be a score draw. This was 0-0. And even I was like, this is going to be... I said in the predictions, it'll be boring, it'll be turgid, it'll be 1-1 draw. They couldn't even muster a goal, either of them. I imagine Roy Hodgson's shopping list at Waitrose was more interested in this game. Go fuck yourselves. I don't want to see either of these teams on my TV. If Forest are at home and they're playing a big team, I might watch that because they've got an amazing atmosphere and they always seem to be quiet. But I am not watching Palace or Forest play equally bad teams or boring teams. Like if Palace and, like for instance, someone go, oh, I've got free tickets to Palace Fulham, I would quite literally rather try and eat my own genitalia. Thank you very much. Pass. So yeah, that I believe that rounds out the entire weekend's Premier League fixtures. And by the way, if you're keeping score at home, our predictions were a 4-4 draw. Each of us got 4. So if you'd bet money on our predictions, you would have lost money. Congratulations. Which is probably why Frankie T keeps losing every fucking week, isn't it? Stop doing our predictions, mate. Well, I mean, he loses anyway. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's neither here nor there. Yeah, good weekend. And obviously, the big story point is the fact that the mighty Arsenal beat Manchester City 1-0 in the worst game of the Premier League so far. Congratulations on your hilarious Trossard special. So, by the way, you have beaten Man City twice this season, both with hilarious Trossard specials. Ludicrous. Oh, by the way, I'm putting it out there right now. City are doing you 5-0 at City.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I reckon they're gonna fucking thumb you because by the time that rolls around, full strength team.
Yeah.
You are in big fucking trouble. You're not getting away with 3 in a row. Absolutely.
No, they'll be super pissed as well, won't they? They'll be out for blood.
The karmic gods of football will strike down upon me with furious vengeance for your Trossard behaviour. Unbelievable. I do love the fact that you won with a Trossard special after you've taken him off, though. That is even more amusing. And by the way, for everyone saying, why is he saying Trossard so much? So in the Charity Shield or the Community Shield, whatever the fuck it's called, the McDonald's fucking cup, I don't give a shit. Arsenal, when they beat Man City on penalties, I believe, the equaliser they got in the very last minute of the game was Trossard scoring the world's most hilarious deflected goal. So after that, I was like, right, every hilarious deflected goal is a Trossard. So yeah, the Trossard special effect. You're welcome. Even your son calls it the Trossard special now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I assumed it was your son and not Danny Disorder who just randomly.
No.
Oh,
no.
That would have been very strange.
Dan.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I can't imagine Danny Disorder watching football at all. So yeah, that was the Premier League. Roger, anything you want to add, mate?
No, I'm all good.
Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed that, please subscribe because we've only got 11 subscribers. It's quite embarrassing. But it's still 11 more tickets than Frankie T will ever sell. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the sporting plug, and we'll catch you very soon. Dickhead out. Ooh-yah, up the arse. Oh, by the way, don't even talk to me about Peter Lincoln. Disgraceful behaviour. Useless. Wankers, the lot of it.